guys? That's Manny. I'm coming to you with another episode of Deck Building 101. This is the series where I talk about certain things to more like newer players that are just trying to start getting into the competitive meta, so they have some sort of resource to really just start themselves and really just kind of get a little bit of a head start rather than just having to look up everything online. So this week, I wanted to talk about the difference between TCG versus OCG. Now, if you don't know what the difference is, TCG is the trading card game of Yu-Gi-Oh! That is only available in anywhere that is not an Asian country. So Europe, Australia, North America, South America, like they're all TCG. If South America even has uh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Down there, I'm not even sure. But and then OCG is China, Korea, Japan. Essentially, those are the big three with Yu-Gi-Oh. So OCG, of course, stands for either official or original card game because that's where it started. But anyway, I want to talk to you guys really about the difference between TCG and OCG. So, the first difference is card exclusives. Now, the OCG and the TCG have certain card differences in which that they get, but we don't, or we get certain cards and they don't get certain cards. Namely, we have gotten some archetypes, specifically UA, Burning Abyss, Kaiju, that have been well supported or gotten plenty of support in order to get some sort of deck made out of them that is relatively good. Burning Abyss, of course, is in the one of the top 5 decks right now, but Korea, Japan, China don't get them. Yes, I know that will be getting them in the future, and at some point we'll be getting some of their OCG exclusives over here, but at the moment they are exclusive. Other cards, including the Empowered Warrior archetype. This was released with the start of the either Xyz or something. Yeah, it's not coming up again, but yeah. They got a pendulum called Aether the Empowered Dragon, something along those lines, where it really helped. It was like a normal pendulum style deck. Another big difference between OCG and TCG is that they get a lot of cards before us. They're getting Traptrix or Fleesia like right around now. They got Heroes months, the Masked Heroes archetype months before us. They get I believe it's the Atlantean Prince card that really makes mermails really OTK Saki type of thing, and they've been getting just a plethora of cards way before us, mainly because that's just where it started. A lot of games are like this. Pokemon has been like this for ages, where they would release games. Only recently I know that they've been releasing games worldwide at the same time. They started doing that with Pokemon X and Y, I believe. Other games do this a lot, where they will get they'll get games before us that aren't American. So, yeah, this just comes with the territory. They get games before us. Sometimes we get games before them, or before they're translated, etc., etc. Another big thing is rulings. There are some differences in rulings between TCG and OCG. We decided that a while ago that there was ignition effect priority towards the beginning of the game. Now, this was something that was discarded, I believe, in 2012 by the TCG, and either a year or two before that in the OCG, and this is significant because it really stopped a lot of effects from being completely overpowered. For example, Elector, Sovereign of Birds. He's the effect that after being summoned, while on the field, he can target one face-up card on the field, and its effects are negated during that turn. Right now, during the game, if his summon was negated, such as whether through Bottomless, whether through Solemn Warning, well, no, for example, like Bottomless Trap Hole, if someone decided Bottomless Trap Hole, Elector, Sovereign of Birds, he would still be able to get that effect off before Bottomless would banish him. Now, however, if Bottomless goes off when he's summoned, he's banished and the effect doesn't happen. This was called the ignition effect window or ignition effect priority. Now, cards had a lot of power, like a lot of monster cards had a lot of power before this, such as Lila, the Lightsworn mate, one of the Lightsworn cards. I can't remember. I think it's Lightsworn Sorceress, something like that. But this Lila was a very significant card way back when Lightsworns were first introduced, and then when Lightsworns came back, of course Lila came back, but not really at the same significant degree. Lila was basically a MST on legs, and it was really hard to deal with Lila back when Ignition Priority was a thing, mainly because it would be able to pop a spell or trap card in the back row, and if you only had one card in the back row, such as a trap hole, for example, that would just send Lila straight to grave, Lila would be able to pop that card, would be able to pop your trap hole before it activated, so Lila would still stay on the field. This is why the reason why Ignition Priority decided to just drop was because people started to realize, hey, Ignition is an effect that has to be manually started by the player. So this is effects like Lone Fire Blossom, Elector, obviously. Let's see here. Cards like Tour Guide from the Underworld, who was actually a TCG exclusive for a while. They would be able to get their effects to special summon or do whatever before they would be removed from the field. So even if Compulse were to just happen, like for example, like if you were able to, like, yes, you can technically change some effects, like quick effects, to these cards. However, now you can't really do that because there is no window that exists. It just depends on the card. So, like, for example, Perfect Ace. If you were to special summon Perfect Ace on your turn, and on your opponent's turn, such as like through the one quick play spell that they have, Turnover Tactics, and your opponent decides to activate Torrential Tribute, you can then chain Perfect Ace. Why? Perfect Ace's summon was not negated, such as through Solemn Warning. Well, so Ace is still on the field, so you can chain Torrential Ace's affected Torrential Tribute, since they're the same spell speed, and negate Torrential Tribute, thus negating its destruction. However, cards like Elector Sovereign of Birds would not be able to get their effect off, mainly because, one, it's once per turn, meaning it's on your turn only, and which I will be going over that in a future video, once per turn versus once per turn during either player's turn. It's a very simple concept. I'm sure you probably can guess what that means, but essentially that was one of the biggest differences in the fact that TCG was able to keep that ruling longer. Now, I know there are other rulings that are different between TCG and OCG. I believe one of them is significantly due to has a significant difference in the battle phase in terms of priority, etc. A lot of it has to do with priority when effects can activate. So yeah. So the main difference is TCG, OCG exclusives. Because of this, the fact that we get TCG and OCG exclusives like the Outer God cards, Elder God Norden, or Nodin, whatever the heck you want to call them. That is grotesque. It really changes the meta. For example, Burning Abyss was never a thing in the meta over in OCG, mainly because they didn't have Burning Abyss. If they don't have the archetype, they can't do anything with it. If Mermails were currently a thing, if we had, I believe his name is Neptibus. I am probably wrong on that, but the Atlantean Prince, if he was over here in TCG, we probably would see another Mermail format. They also had heroes at a much higher level over there than they did over here. Why? They have Stratos over there. And yes, while they have Bubble Man at 1, Bubble Man still isn't like... I have played heroes. Bubble Man's effect to draw 2 cards, not... You don't see it as often as you would like, obviously. Otherwise, it'd be completely broken. So, they do have a lot of differences. For example, Rhoda is at 1 over there, and a lot of people are questioning why Rhoda is still at 3 here. It's because, 1, we don't have Stratos. 2, there really isn't a significant archetype in the top 5 right now that can really get a lot of bonus off of 3 Rhoda. I mean, Necros at most uses 2. And they might use 3 just to get Shirt into their hand as fast as possible, but I really don't think they need to. And then of course Tallarknights winners of Worlds, but I believe that one only used 1 Rhoda, mainly because they had a combined ban list. Yes, when we have Worlds, they have to combine TCG and OCG. A lot of the Burning Abyss cards could not be used, I believe, in the Worlds because OCG didn't have Burning Abyss. So they also don't have cards like the sneak peek preview cards, such as the Draconian cards. They don't have them. They will be getting them in the future. But yeah, there's just a lot of differences in terms of like what cards we're getting that help define the meta. And when we get them, of course. I mean, they already have Traptrix of Rafflesia, as I've said before, which is a completely overpowered card. Traptrix are definitely going to have some sort of comeback soon. They also have Cyber Dragon Infinity over there, which is ridiculous, and we have no idea when we're going to get that, if we get that at all. A lot of people are hoping, including myself, that we never get Infinity because it's just such a broken card. If you're wondering what it does, it just doesn't leave the field and it just gets rid of it. Just takes all of your cards. If you don't know what it is. So we also had Lavalval Chain longer than the OCG. We have different ban lists, as I said before. I mean, the OCG on the last ban list didn't have any changes whatsoever, whereas we had Lavalval Chain banned, Shirt to 1. The Jin Releaser of Rituals was banned. We had cards come back, like in Landing Dragoons, got 2. A lot of the previously banned cards, such as Sinister Serpent, and what's the card? Temple of the Kings. They went to 3 because nobody uses them more than 1 anyway. So yeah, there are just a lot of key differences between TCG and OCG, not just the way that people play, but in terms of what cards that are available to us. So this concludes this episode of Deck Building 101. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a nice day. But before I go, I just wanted to just kind of remind you guys, for the next week, I will be taking the week off. As I said before, I'm heading back to college, and I just kind of want the week to just kind of get readjusted back into my schedule, or into my new schedule, and just basically get into things. But once that week is done, I will be back to uploading a minimum of 3 videos, maybe a few more, depending on whether or not I have access to certain things at specifically a reliable internet source. College, yay, at my college. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.